Dave Ramsey, 10 genius things to do with your money. Alright, let's see. I like Dave Ramsey. He's he's smart. I just like how he speaks about getting out of debt and just it's helped me. I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of people criticize him. There are, I've read them. But I mean I didn't follow it to a T, but I did follow some of his methods. I modified some of them that I will mention here later, but um, he's really big about getting out of debt. So am I. That was the biggest thing that got me from like being super broke in my 20s to now I'm far from broke. I'm not saying I'm rich, but I'm far from it, right? There's an emergency, I got it covered, no problem. First one is eliminate debt before you invest, except for anything that's your mortgage, right? I believe in that. This is much easier to do when you don't have a family. I don't have a family yet, but I understand. But the concept of get out of debt ASAP, tack it with a vengeance, especially with credit card debt. That's a big one that you need to get rid of. Harness the power of the snowball method. Eliminating debt is easy to talk about, but hard to do. I've read from his baby steps that he says go after the smallest debt and then go after the bigger ones. I agree to it to an extent because some of the bigger ones could have higher interest that you're paying. So I would believe attack those first, but he believes that if you pay off the smaller debt, then you free up more money to pay off the bigger debts. And then not just that, but you have more confidence in your ability to pay off debt and to really attack it. So I see that point. It's a good thought process. Either one works as long as you're attacking that debt. That's the primary objective, right? Build an emergency fund before you build wealth. This is a roadblock for many people. Top of other debts and stuff. The ability to save money. I've been there paycheck to paycheck. And you know what paycheck to paycheck means? Like you just basically don't have savings. And when you start barely save money, like say you're able to save like $50 a paycheck, and then you're like, all right, I'm at $300, and boom, you have to pay a car bill. You know, the emergency light comes on, or things come up. Oh, registration fee for my car. I didn't even think of that. Now you got to pay that. Like, this shit always happens in life. Always, always does. This was my biggest hurdle too. I really had to think about, okay, I'm not saving money at a rate I'd like. I really need to look at my last 2 months of bank statements and see what the hell I'm spending my money on. There is sacrifice to this. I know there's so many people here who are gonna say cost of living sucks, isn't that? I get it, it does suck. I feel it too. And you're gonna have to cut back on things, but that's one thing I know people are not willing to cut back on, right? They still have the latest, greatest gadgets and whatnot, and they're out there on TikTok complaining about it. But I actually had to look into this. A big one for me was, this is embarrassing to say, but like I didn't really learn how to cook until I was like late 20s. I always went out and ate. The only thing I really knew how to cook growing up was just eggs, really. That was about it. Just cooking on the stove. Microwave, putting things in the microwave, heating up, that's not cooking. I grew up with a Latina mother, right? They're always going to feed you nonstop. So I never really learned how to cook. Every time I was out in college and about my adult years, I went out and ate. I stopped doing that. That helped me reduce my costs a lot. I mean, making more money helps too, right? Which is good. Problem with making more money for a lot of people, they also inflate their lifestyles. If you're making more money, you need to just remain what your current means are, where your lifestyle is, and take that extra money and attack it with either paying off your debts or saving that money. Saving money is very important because shit always happens. And if you're not ready, if you don't have that emergency fund, you're just going to swipe that problem with a credit card and you're in more debt and you're underwater still. And I digress. But that is the biggest hurdle I had to overcome. sit down and think about it. How do I make more money? What do I need to cut? Do I need to learn new skills? How do I fix this? This is a problem. How do I have more money in savings? Because it's a discipline. Once you have that discipline down, you're going to be doing good. Giving 15% every paycheck to your future self. I mean, investing to yourself, but this only applies to people who can save the money after this big hurdle. This is the biggest hurdle, I believe. If you think that's not the biggest hurdle, let me know what you think was your biggest hurdle. Giving 15%. I mean, I do things like me saving wise. There's things I know that's going to be the inevitable. Emergency fund, right? Because shit always happens. I know I'm going to take a vacation at least twice a year. So I take a little bit of my paycheck and I put it in a fund called vacation. It's another savings account. I just call it vacation fund. I know I'm going to buy like new furniture or something. So I take a little bit, put in an account called new furniture. What else do I put? Hold on. Entertainment one. This is me just buying like video games and new consoles and a new computer and stuff. I have an entertainment account. I know I go through a new computer like every 3 years, so I put a little bit of my paycheck into that account. But yeah, I mean, you get the point, right? Just things you know you're going to do in the future. Vacation. Buy a new car, right? Now, I have a fund for that too. I have a buy a new car fund, which is meant for 5+ years of growth, right? Because I no longer get myself in debt with a new car. I don't get a car loan anymore. I just get a car, and I know in the future I'm going to need a new car. So I got to get ready for that. What else? Keeping up with the Joneses. I'm guilty of this. I'm willing to admit it. My young 20s, I was like this. Living paycheck to paycheck on a loss prevention Best Buy employee salary, right? Trying to look impressive. Trying to look cool. Fit in. Trying to impress people. Trying to impress women and get dates with them. The dumbest, oh gosh, it's just so dumb. I've done it. Latest, greatest gadget. I don't do that anymore. I always buy at least a year old phone, if not older. Because like, what do I need the latest, greatest gadget for? You don't need it. For some reason, people just buy like brand new cars. Right, it's just brand new. And they have $1,000 a month payment. I'm like, what for? $1,000 a month is so impactful. Most of it's going to interest anyway. So you're paying a lot more than what you originally bought it for. So if you bought like a $50,000 car, by the time the loan is over, you just paid like $75 at the end, like an extra $25, if not more. In my 20s, I'm also guilty of this. That's why I preach this a lot. Stop buying clothes, expensive clothes at the mall. Like your $150 jeans. You're not going to impress anyone with those jeans. It's not worth it. They wear out. You get pissed when you accidentally dirty them, right? And plus, whoever you're trying to impress with your $150 jeans, they're not worth it. They're not worth your time. They're not worth impressing. Because they're probably the most high maintenance people, most pretentious, obnoxious, self-centered people that you're trying to impress. It's just not worth it. Even though I'm making way much more money, I have more money in the bank than I ever had in my life, I still shop at the thrift store. I still shop at Ross and TJ Maxx, those secondhand stores. I don't care. I have no shame. I love finding the good deals. But 20-year-old me would not be seen or get caught dead at a thrift store or a Ross. It's embarrassing. It's stupid, I know. But it's one of those life lessons that I'm willing to admit that was stupid, learned, did better. Utilize money-saving technologies. Okay, like having technologies that like includes a smart thermostat to lowering your utility bills. That makes sense. Utilities can be expensive, especially in the summertime. Of like where you need to set the temperature at and then separate it. This way it's not running the same temperature all day long. Like maybe at night you can drop the temperature requirements, and then when it gets hot, get the cooling to kick in more, stuff like that. I get that. It's not a big impact thing, I don't see. But I get the article, what they're trying to say here. Or buck the trend and go low tech. I see. So basically, literally, like do the old school of like handwriting your checking account. Because right now, all these credit card companies, debit card companies, they're trying to just make it easier where you just swipe and not even think twice about how much you're spending, right? But if you always have that physical booklet of like how much money you have, you just went to the grocery store, you just spent whatever it is minus that, that's how much you have remaining. That's very difficult to do. But I don't know. I'm always constantly checking my bank account anyway. So I get what they're trying to do. That like always keep your mind on your money, right? Shoot, I remember when I was young, I was always scared to look at my bank account because I did not want to bear how little there was. And I did not like sacrificing because that meant I'm not gonna have a good time. Because you're young, you want to have a good time. Okay, I get that, but there's also about maturing, growing up, responsibility that you really have to focus on too. Put what you already know into practice. Here, winning at money is 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge. So I mean, you gain the knowledge, right? 80% of it is behavior. On financial fitness, that reminds me of like, if you want to lose weight, about 80%, give or take, is diet. The rest is fitness, right? So that makes sense. Diet's hard because I can easily be addicted to sugar and I can't stop eating it. Right now I'm on a strong diet plan right now. I can't stop thinking about sugar, but the numbers on the scale that I'm jumping on is going down, so that's a benefit. But it is a discipline though. You have to like really want it. If you really want to get out of debt, if you really want to save money, you have to learn some discipline and execute it. No one's going to teach you discipline. That's something that's in here. That's a character in here that only you can control. Never enter a grocery store without a plan. I mean, I still screw this up. But, it's just like, okay. Because I have on my fridge, I have like a magnet thing where I write down, oh, what do we need? We need milk. We need this. And then I take a picture of it and I go to the grocery store. And sometimes we add more things. It kind of happens, but I get the point, right? Because this way, you're spending more than you originally planned for. So I'm guilty of this still, but I get it because I'm still more like, do we really really need this? But yeah, okay. I'm willing to admit, not perfect, but I get this. Know what you don't know, and work with a pro. I mean, if you need an advisor and stuff or whatnot to look at your finances, it helps. People need financial advisors. I get it. I mean, this is just another pulling teeth type of paragraph for this article. Let's see what comments have to say. Always have an emergency account. Get out of debt. Save more than you spend. And put your money into a high interest savings. I mean, right now with high interest rates by the Federal Reserve, interest rates are high, and there's a lot of banks out there who are using high interest savings accounts really to attract customers, but it's a great way to park money. Super low risk, 4 or 5%. Doesn't sound impactful, but it adds up over time. It's something, right? It's a little something that kind of helps, fight against inflation a little bit. I mean, it's not much of a fight, but it's something. It's better than nothing. The man has more common sense advice. Problem is, not many people have common sense when it comes to money. I mean, I could say that about 20-year-old me, right? I needed the latest, greatest phone. I bought an expensive car when I shouldn't have. I was trying to impress people. I bought expensive clothes. It was just stupid. But now I learned, right? I'm in a way much better financial place than I am than ever before. He's so against credit cards. They're actually great for so many reasons. Better protection from thefts, fraud, miles, cashback, extended warranties, trip insurances. Just don't overspend so you can pay in full each month. I mean, I completely agree with this. Because I have like a Costco credit card, right? I love it because it's like 4% on gas and 3% in travel, 2% when you're shopping at Costco. So those cash back adds up, and I love it. And of course, and I pay off that credit card bill full each month. I'm actually a little bit crazy with that. Whatever I spend, I take the receipt, I go to my computer, and I pay it off right away on the website. So I'm like making multiple payments in a month, but yeah, but the better protection of theft and fraud is a big one because I've had identity theft with my bank, and then it was a pain in the ass to get my money back. Luckily, I was able to, but not everyone was lucky. So there is a better protection because a credit card that's paid up front, it's paid by credit, and credit card company is going to try to protect that as fast as possible. So yeah, as long as you're able to pay off that credit card each month in full, I say okay, it's okay to use credit cards. I have no issue with Ramsey, but everything he says is something most people could figure out for themselves. You'd think it'd be common sense, but it's really not. It's really not. It's just, like I said, it's a discipline. It's a behavior issue more than anything else. I understand some of you are going to say in the comments about high inflation. It's really hard. It's one of those things you just have to adapt to because you can't control it. You know, there's only so many things you can control. Maybe elect another politician to better represent you, but at the same time, the Federal Reserve is the one who causes the problem, who caused this inflation problem to begin with. It's not your Democrats or Republicans. It was the Federal Reserve, and then what checks and balances are there for the Federal Reserve? I never listened to this guy. I've done fine. Here's a tip I was given. It's not about how you save, but how you spend. I mean, I agree with that in a way. Like, you're very careful of what you're spending your money on, but at the same time, indirectly, it affects how much you save. And I always preach about not necessarily how much you make, though it does have an influence. Don't get me wrong about that part. But it's how much money you can keep, how much you can save. And when you have that discipline, you're going to have a better life in the future because you're going to end up having more and more money in your bank account, and then you're going to figure out ways to do with your money to make more money, like invest, and like, hey, you got dividends and it's making you this much money each month and it keeps growing and you're off to a good start. The number one genius thing you can do is not listen to anything Dave Ramsey says. I wonder why. If you believe this, please write that down in the comment. Why? I want to know. I know there's going to be a lot of trolls and whatnot, but I will comb through the comments, skip through all the trolls. I really want to know why someone does not believe Dave Ramsey is right about anything. That's enough comments. I'm gonna end the video right there, but I do read comments, so please leave a comment below. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you can. This channel has been growing, and there's a lot of engagement too, a lot of exposure. So I greatly appreciate everyone who's consistently watching my videos, hitting that like button, commenting. Great engagement. I greatly appreciate it, and I will respond to the non-trolls, let's put it that way. So have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.